for taking the time. I know a busy day for you. If you could start by speaking what this move means for the ag sector.
Well, good afternoon, Suzanne. We're up here fighting to protect rural America. That's one of my main jobs up here. There's this huge rural versus urban divide. The Environmental Species Act is something that unfairly disadvantages folks in rural America. I want to start by saying I'm so proud of my farmers and ranchers. Thanks to their conservation practices, the overall trend of the prairie chicken population is increasing. Now, we could sure use some rain. The prairie chicken numbers typically follow the rain, but we know they need rain. We know they need good habitat. The Environmental Species Act has become something that this White House has used to be weaponized against farmers and ranchers. And again, your listeners understand when a species is listed, it makes it harder to farm and ranch. It makes it harder for the oil and gas industry. It makes it harder to get all that wind energy out of Kansas as well. So we're trying to slow them down. Very proud that we're able to win a small victory here last night.
Senator, is there a companion bill making its way through the House? I mean, the big question is, where do we go from here? What's the next steps?
Absolutely. So we do have a companion bill that's passed out of committee, and we hope that Speaker McCarthy has an opportunity to put it on the House floor, and then we'll put this in the hands of Joe Biden once again, and we'll see what he does with it. But I hope that he understands that his policies, how much of an impact, a negative impact they've had on rural America. The people I talk to back home feel like his energy policies negatively impact rural America. We feel like his agriculture policies are driving up the cost of fertilizers, driving up the cost of doing business as well. So we hope he doesn't continue to weaponize one more Environmental Species Act, by the way, which has been very unsuccessful. Only 2% of the animals that are listed ever make it off of that species list. So let's encourage more farmers and ranchers to do the right thing by volunteering to use new grazing practices, and then let's use a farm bill to figure out a way to reward them.
Speaking of the Farm Bill, Senator, I know these discussions continue moving forward. What are you hearing from farmers as they highlight their priorities for the legislation?
Right. Well, very proud to be out in Kansas with Ranking Member John Bozeman. Just last Friday, I spoke with ag retailers in Kansas City, to some folks focused on conservation practices as well as farmers and ranchers. Certainly the number one issue in Kansas remains the weather, remains the rain. We've had to unfortunately even plow under a lot of the wheat crop in the western third of the state. Of course, they're going to talk about crop insurance and the challenges with it. But even more than that, I think they're concerned about labor issues and inflation, how inflation is impacting them, the price of fertilizer. And like your previous speaker just talked about, is inflation is impacting interest rates as well. That if you have an operation loan, last year you were paying 2% on it, and now you're paying 7 or 8 or 9% on it, it's certainly a big threat to your family farm.
Absolutely, making it very, very difficult.